Hey guys, hope you like that new intro. Tyler Jacobs, our video editor, doing good things for us, as always, behind the camera. We got a loaded show to get to today. We want to talk about a couple games last week in the Hub territory and Friday Night Rewind. We want to look ahead and see what teams in the Hub territory can remain undefeated and possibly run the table in the regular season. We have a Coach's Corner interview with Holdrege's Jason Hale, but before we get to any of that, as always, 3 stars. And the first kid we're going to talk about, Ryan Soderholm of Alma. You know, typically we don't talk about kids that had performances in losing efforts, but Soderholm definitely deserving. He had 7 catches for 119 yards. He had 3 touchdowns, 17 tackles, and an interception in that one. Just an absolutely incredible game in a losing effort. They lose to Loomis, but it wasn't because of Soderholm. It's been a little bit of a rough year for Alma. They haven't gotten that first win yet, but if Soderholm keeps having games like that, I think Alma's due for one. And then the second kid that we're going to look at, actually in that same game, and is a repeat 3 stars, the first repeat 3-star of the year, that's Zach Clark of Loomis. Man, kid just absolutely went off, rushed for over 300 yards, 6 touchdowns, did just about everything that the Wolves could have asked him to do in that one, and they get a nice 48-32 win against Alma. Loomis has such a tough schedule coming up. They get Kennesaw, Hitchcock County, and Bertrand to end the year. This is a team that needs Zach Clark to be at his absolute best in that for going forward, or else Loomis is going to have maybe a little bit of a tough time getting into the playoffs. Need him to be definitely on top of his game in the coming weeks. And then we talk about second-timers, another second-timer, Chris Seaberger of Overton. We talked about him earlier in the year for having a game-winning touchdown in that first game of the season. Well, in this one, he had over 300 all-purpose yards, had a few touchdowns. Overton gets a big win against SEM. And Seaberger's really had a positive impact on that team. You know, they had a little bit of a tough start to their season, and they get Anselmo Myrna coming up next. Seaberger's gonna have to be doing exactly what he did against SEM, against Anselmo Myrna, who just scores points seemingly in bunches. So if he could do that, maybe they'll be able to hang around and give Anselmo Myrna a good test. It's rare that we get a battle of unbeatens this late in the season in the Hub territory, but that's exactly what we had last Friday night with Elm Creek and Arapahoe, 2 4-0 teams looking to hand each other that first loss. Elm Creek comes on top of that in that one, 42-36 the final, and credit Elm Creek. Elm Creek did it without Nick Crowley at quarterback. That's impressive considering what they had going in that one against a good Arapahoe defense. An Arapahoe defense that's been able to contain every team that it's faced so far. And of course he did it, Christian Best in that offensive line. Kid rushes for 255 yards. Toe to the rock 38 times in that one. That's definitely way more than he's had to all season, but credit Arapahoe in that one because they really were able to hold off the Buffaloes in that one after the Buffaloes jumped out to, they scored 29 points in the first quarter, and Arapahoe was able to keep Elm Creek scoreless in the second half. I'm sure there's a lot of teams in the Hub territory, or in the region in general in D1 that are going to want to look at that second half game film and say, what do we do to slow down the Elm Creek offense? Nick Crowley, potentially, he told me that he thought that he might have torn his ACL. He took a helmet to the knee a couple weeks ago and was worried that, you know, maybe he would be out for the season for football and then maybe for basketball too. But it's kind of just going to be a day-to-day, week-by-week thing with him. Jace Doolan needs him healthy going forward. We talk a lot about Christian Best, but really important that they get their senior quarterback back in the fold for the rest of the season because they definitely have big things in mind. And then the second game that we want to look at, Elwood and Bertrand, a couple of D2 teams that put up a ton of points. Elwood able to get the edge in that one, hold off Bertrand down the stretch. Zach Hackbar gets 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns in that one. Just a senior playing up to the moment in that one. Elm Creek, or not Elm Creek, but Elwood rather, really needed to get a victory in that one. You know, tough loss earlier in the season to Anselmo Myrna, but needed to show that they can put up points against anyone. That Bertrand defense is one of the best that they're going to see at the D2 level, and this is a district win that they're definitely going to put in their back pocket, and hopefully they can build on it going forward. Seems like I haven't really talked about Holdrege in a few weeks. Quietly, the Dusters have actually won 3 straight. I got a chance to catch up with Holdrege coach Jason Hale. He talked a little bit about what his team needs to do against Central City and what his team needs to do the rest of the season to be able to get into that Class C1 playoff picture.
You know, we're just doing good team things. You know, we're not turning the ball over. We're controlling the football, playing good defense. So overall, I've been excited about that. I think we've gotten better and better each week, which is going to have to be a goal over the last 3 weeks. We've got 3 pretty tough opponents coming up. Well, they like to, offensively, they like to spread you out and throw the ball around quite a bit. It kind of reminds me of what we used to look like and some of the teams we were playing in western Nebraska in previous years. But Overall, I think they're a team that's improved a ton from a year ago. You know, it's their second season under their coach, and they're going to cause a lot of fits for teams, and they'll cause us problems if you don't take care of the ball. And I just think we have to continue to take care of the football. We have to hold on to the football. My defensive coordinator keeps telling me we need to have 24-minute drives each half. I don't know if that's possible, but that's kind of the mentality we have going in. I know Central City started off 0-2, but they got a darn good football team, and you know, we're going to be expecting their best when they come here, and that's kind of how we're looking at it. We got to get a win each and every week, and hopefully a couple weeks down the road we can be worried about the playoffs.
And what to watch for, I want to look at the 3 undefeated teams we have left in the Hub territory. Each of those teams with 3 games left in their schedule. The first team we're going to look at, Kearney Catholic, 6-0, 3 games left in the C1 slate. They want to be able to run that regular season table, and to do so, they're going to need to keep doing exactly what they've been doing, which is establishing that balance, getting the running game going, getting that passing game going with John Masker, of course, and playing unbelievable defense like they've been doing lately. They have a little bit of a tough road the rest of the way. They have a tough showdown at GICC this weekend, then they come back, get to host Minden, and then they get to host Holdrege in that season finale, the regular season finale. I talked about that earlier in the year as being a game to circle on your calendar. Definitely still want to watch out for that, but the Stars doing everything they can right now to set themselves up to have an undefeated regular season. And then the second team that I want to look at, Amherst. Amherst is right now sitting at 5-0 and really hasn't been pushed too much. They've had a couple of slow starts and a couple of close first halves, but really they've blown every team out of the water so far, and they really don't have a true showdown until that season, the regular season finale at home against Burwell. That's a Thursday night game. I'm going to be really interested to see the way that the Broncos handle that one, if that offense can get going. Talk about Trey Taubenheim and Braden Eckhout, what those guys are capable of doing against a defense like Burwell. I think that'll be a good test going into the postseason. And then Elm Creek, we talked about them before. Really, Buff just had their toughest game of the season against Arapahoe, a couple undefeated squads. The road gets a little bit easier for Elm Creek. Definitely need Nick Crowley back in the fold. We talked about that earlier, but who knows, if Elm Creek is able to play the way it's been with that offensive line production and of course Christian Best attacking the holes the way that they've been, I mean, this is a team that could easily run the table and go deep into the postseason. They talk about getting that rematch against Hemingford in the playoffs, and I think a couple of games here to maybe get Nick Crowley healthy, shore up a couple of things on defense will do Jay Stulin's team good in the long run. So watch out for these 3 teams in the Hub territory that could easily be running the table with a ton of momentum heading into the postseason. That's all we have for this week. Another week of high school football ahead to look forward to on Friday night. A lot of good games in the Hub territory. Make sure you're following all of us on Twitter. Make sure that you're sending in those scores to sports@kearneyhub.com. Definitely got to make sure that you're doing that, coaches in the Hub territory. Also, make sure definitely that you're following the Sports Hub blog, because we're really trying to amp up our in-game tweets as far as what we're doing, retweeting scores in the region. So even if you just want to tweet at Sports Hub blog, that's totally fine. We'll retweet you. We appreciate all the interest that you've been giving us, all the views on the videos. It is much appreciated. So for Conor O'Gara, this has been Sports Hub. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week.